The glow of the monitor illuminated a face, pale and thin. It was the face of a young man, barely an adult. He called himself Dread Pirate Roberts, a name whispered in online forums, a name feared in the darkest corners of the web. His Jolly Roger wasn't a skull and crossbones, but a flickering cursor on a black screen. His ship, the cluttered basement of his parents' suburban home. Roberts wasn't your typical pirate. He'd never smelled salt spray or felt the roll of the ocean. His world was the digital sea, a vast expanse of data, code, and information. He sailed this sea with a keyboard for a ship's wheel and a torrent client for a treasure map. He was a data pirate, the best there was. He could crack any firewall, navigate any digital labyrinth. He amassed a digital hoard unlike any other. Movies, music, games, books, terabytes upon terabytes of data filled his hard drives, a testament to his prowess. But this night was different. This night, Roberts had stumbled upon something big, something he hadn't meant to find. Something that would change everything. Roberts had been chasing a rumor, a whisper on the deep web about a secret server, a server containing the unreleased prototypes of a highly anticipated video game. He'd spent weeks, months even, trying to track it down. And then, he found it. A single, unguarded port, a crack in the armor of a corporate giant. He'd slipped in, his fingers flying across the keyboard, a digital ghost in the machine. He started downloading, the familiar thrill of the heist coursing through him. But something was wrong. The amount of data was staggering, far more than a single game prototype. It was growing, expanding, consuming his bandwidth like a digital black hole. He tried to stop it, to sever the connection, but it was too late. The data kept coming. The next morning, chaos reigned in Kyoto, Japan. Nintendo, the video game giant, had been breached. But this was no ordinary hack. This wasn't about stolen credit card numbers or leaked emails. This was far worse. Their entire headquarters, every file, every document, every single byte of data was gone. Vanished. Downloaded into the digital abyss. The news sent shockwaves through the company, through the industry, through the world. It was unprecedented, unthinkable. And Dread Pirate Roberts? He sat in his basement, staring at his computer screen, his face a mask of dawning horror. He wasn't looking at the latest game prototype. He was staring at blueprints for unreleased consoles, financial records, confidential employee information. He had downloaded Nintendo. Panic set in. What had he done? This was too big, too real. He considered deleting everything, pretending it never happened. But a strange sense of responsibility, of twisted ambition took root in his mind. He had all this data, this power. He could do something with it. He started small, leaking bits and pieces of information, exposing corporate secrets, embarrassing executives. He became a digital Robin Hood, a champion of the people, at least in his own mind. His online notoriety grew, his legend spreading like wildfire. But Roberts had grander ambitions. He used his newfound wealth of information to manipulate markets, to play the stock market like a fiddle. He amassed a fortune, enough to buy his way out of his parents' basement and into a life of luxury. But he didn't. Section 5. The Art of Confusion. Instead, Roberts bought something else, something far more valuable to him. He bought a mountain of e-waste. Discarded computers, broken phones, obsolete servers, a physical manifestation of the digital world he ruled. He had it shipped to a remote island, a forgotten speck in the Pacific. This wasn't just any island. This was his kingdom, his e-waste empire. He built a fortress from discarded circuit boards, a throne from broken hard drives. He was the king of the digital scrap heap, the ruler of all he surveyed. He released the data, terabytes upon terabytes of it, into the public domain. Games, movies, music, a torrent of culture free for the taking. He became a folk hero, a digital messiah, hailed as a liberator by some, condemned as a criminal by others. But there was a problem. a problem Roberts hadn't anticipated. Section 6. A Kingdom's Ransom. The problem wasn't the law. Roberts had covered his tracks well, disappearing into the digital ether, his location unknown. The problem was the art, the movies, the music, the games. He had it all, but he couldn't give it away. People downloaded, consumed, and moved on. There was no appreciation, no understanding of the value of what he had liberated. They treated it like digital garbage, disposable entertainment to be consumed and discarded. Roberts was baffled. He had given them everything, and they treated it like nothing. He couldn't understand why. He had risked everything, sacrificed everything for this, and it meant nothing. Section 7. The Passion Paradox. He tried to explain it to them, to make them understand. He wrote long, rambling manifestos about the importance of art, the value of creation. He posted them on his website, on message boards, on social media. He even started a podcast, but no one listened. Or rather, they listened, but they didn't understand. They accused him of hypocrisy, of being a thief who now preached about the sanctity of art. They didn't see the irony. He couldn't comprehend it. He had spent his life surrounded by the fruits of other people's labor, and he had always assumed that they did it for the same reason he did, for the money, for the fame, for the recognition. The idea that someone would create something simply for the joy of it, for the passion of it, was alien to him. Section 8. Digital Obliteration. The realization hit Roberts like a ton of bricks. He had built his kingdom on a foundation of sand. His entire worldview, his entire sense of self was based on a lie. He wasn't a liberator, he was a thief. He hadn't freed anything, he had stolen it. Despair consumed him. He had nothing left, no purpose, no meaning. He had tried to buy happiness, to buy redemption, but it hadn't worked. He was still the same scared kid in his parents' basement, hiding from the world behind a screen. In a fit of rage, of self-loathing, he did the only thing he could think to do. He deleted everything. Every file, every byte of data, every last trace of his digital empire. He wiped his hard drives clean, erased his servers, destroyed his backups. He was erasing himself. Section 9. The world doesn't care. The world didn't end. In fact, it barely noticed. Life went on. Nintendo released its new console, the games were still downloaded, the movies were still watched. The digital sea flowed on, indifferent to the loss of a single drop. Roberts watched it all from his island fortress, now a desolate wasteland of broken dreams and discarded technology. He had nothing left but the echoes of his failure. He had tried to be a god, and he had failed. He had tried to be a hero, and he had failed. He had tried to be a man, and he had failed. He was nothing. Section 10. The Fall of the Data King. But then, a strange thing happened. People started asking questions. Where had all the data gone? Who had deleted it? Why? The rumors started swirling again, whispers on the digital wind. Roberts saw his opportunity. He would become a legend, a cautionary tale, a ghost story whispered in the digital night. He recorded a video, a confession of sorts, a rambling, incoherent rant about his crimes, his motivations, his regrets. He posted it online, and then he waited. He waited for the world to judge him, to condemn him, to remember him. Section 11. Exile in the Analog Sea. The video went viral. People watched it, shared it, debated it, but it wasn't the reaction Roberts had hoped for. They didn't see him as a hero or a villain. They saw him as a joke, a pathetic, delusional nobody who had stumbled upon power he couldn't handle. His legacy wasn't one of fear or respect. It was one of ridicule and pity. He had achieved the ultimate anonymity to be remembered only as a punchline. He was a meme, a cautionary tale about the dangers of the internet, a ghost story for the digital age. Roberts disappeared again, this time by choice. He abandoned his island fortress, his e-waste empire, his digital past. He set sail on a small boat, a rickety vessel cobbled together from the wreckage of his dreams. He sailed into the vast empty ocean, leaving behind the digital world he had tried to conquer. He sailed into the analog sea, searching for redemption in the silence of the waves, in the solitude of the open water. He sailed alone, haunted by the ghosts of his past, forever exiled from the digital world he had once ruled. He sailed, and he was never heard from again,